Welcome to another episode of the Faster, Easier, Better show. I'm Ellen Goodwin, and today Lee is not with us, but I have a guest, Kelly Ann Gorman, who's a podcaster, entrepreneur, business, and life coach. Hello, Kelly.
Hi, how are you? Thank you so much for having me.
Super excited to have you here today. I wanted to talk today about some of the things that you do. I know you have a lot of irons in the fire, and I want to hear about some of those, and then how you keep all of the balls in the air, and what systems, tools you're using to keep your business running. So tell us a little bit about you.
I, first of all, am so excited to be talking to you today because I'm a queen bee of organization. So I love sharing all of my tips and tricks and tools and all of that. So I'm one of those people that always has to write things down, but I also now have it digitally. So when we went to schedule this recording, we would use Calendly to book our calls, but I always have to have it written in my planner. I'm a huge fan of sitting down, taking time to yourself, and planning ahead. So in December, I actually planned out my whole entire year.
Wow.
Last week, was it last week or the week before? No, it was like 2 weeks. I spent 4 hours redoing the next 6 months because of the pandemic. You know, a lot of goals crushed.
That's one of the bad things with planning. Sometimes, people make plans, God laughs. So, wow, that's totally
it's intense. And so I have this whole calendar system that's in my office right here, and I have goals broken down for personal, business, and life. So First I start off with, what do I want out of today? What do I want out of this month, this week, next month, and the whole year? And by setting yourself up, by giving yourself goals and being organized that way, when it comes time to writing things down, that's where, visualizing things and manifesting them, they all come into fruition. So when it comes to business and my personal life, I do the same exact thing. So I have a schedule for my social media content online. What I post daily is the same Monday through Friday. And then I also have a schedule for myself on what I do. So that's how I personally break it up. So that would be one of my tips, is to be scheduled and organized and create a space for yourself always, but then only allow certain things on certain days. So for example, Monday and Tuesday, I'm always writing and producing. Wednesday and Thursday are the only days that I ever record and film, because if you're not in a podcasting business or a content creating business, there's a lot that goes into producing content and producing, great podcasts and a video for YouTube. And there's just so much prep work and then so much production involved. So you really need to take time for yourself first, so that you're your best when you go to schedule yourself. And then on Fridays, I usually take a half day and I prep for my next week. Sundays, I always like to work because I like to take time on Sunday to either do half of my workload on Monday, because it always makes me feel like I'm one step ahead of the game. So even if it's just like setting something up and then, looking at it on Monday, and then it's like I'm a day ahead of the game. And then as far as digitally goes, the way that I put out my content, it's varied. So one of my absolute favorite tools, and I swear I should be the spokesperson for this, it's a free app. It's called IFTTT, and it stands for If This Then That. It's not a scheduler, it's an automating tool. So when I post my content online, I have a whole funnel system. So basically Instagram is my home, and then it will trickle to Facebook and LinkedIn and Pinterest and Google and all of that. But the best part about this app is you can actually use it for your personal life as well. So you can sync your ringer, doorbell, your camera, your lights on your house, some appliances, GE appliances, and lighting and all that. I mean, usually when you have those high-end products or certain things, they already come with their own app. But with IFTTT, you can do the same. So that's literally one of my favorite tools when it comes to automating content. But going back to the scheduling part, I've created a schedule. So Monday through Friday in my planner, I know what I'm doing and where. So for example, Monday and Friday, I have an IGTV. Tuesday and Thursday, I have a LinkedIn blog post, which is repurposed show notes from every podcast episode. So the key to being organized is knowing what to repurpose. So you're not sitting there creating so many things. And then Wednesday and Friday, I have 2 podcast episodes that go out. So they usually start getting repurposed the next week. But when it comes to writing things down and having a set place for them, I color code everything. So if I'm looking at my calendar a week at a glance or a month, it's highlighted with different colors. So if I'm opening the month and I see a lot of orange, that means I'm recording a lot. If there's a lot of blue, there's a lot of doctor appointments. If there's a lot of green, there's a lot of bills due. So I color code everything. So that, and a lot of my clients and friends have picked up on that because it's just really simple, especially if you're a busy mom, your kids are running around, hopefully they're out of school by now.
Right.
And you're managing a household and managing a family. If you just take like 20 minutes for yourself to organize yourself, you'll have more time the next day alone because you've already prepped for the day before. So prepping is a huge thing. I deal with my meals, with my calendar, with my clients, like everything.
So I think we're kind of backwards here. We don't know what you do. I mean, obviously you're a podcaster, entrepreneur, and coach, but tell us, like, what's your podcast and your other businesses, so we understand, what you're doing videos for and all of that.
Mm-hmm. So I am a podcaster 3 years now, which is crazy. It's called the Happy Workaholic podcast. It's a show that started off as a show focused on business, LinkedIn, and then my life with an autoimmune disease. And I was sharing what I was going through. I was hoping to help others. And at the time I had a disease that was going to leave me blind and paralyzed. So a podcast was really the only way that I was going to make money because I would have my voice and that's it. So I dove right into it. I taught myself everything I knew. I've shared my complete life story on there, and my podcast has shifted. And that's something I always share with everybody looking to get into podcasting, is that there's no rules. You can pivot, you can create series, you can make it however you want to, make it the content and the sound however you feel that you want. There's no rules. And so that's the best part. But how I got to where I am today is I launched my show 3 years ago. It's pivoted. I have multiple series on it for professional patients, people on health journeys, some that have been misdiagnosed, medical experts, holistic healers. Because of my health journey, I created that series. Because I am an entrepreneur, I interview other entrepreneurs and they share their entrepreneurial story. That's for a series called I Chose This Life. And then I have another one called Leverage Your LinkedIn, because I've been a LinkedIn expert for years. I'm obsessed with that platform. I've created the best working business relationships on that platform. And because of launching my show 3 years ago, other business coaches in the online space, which I was a business and LinkedIn coach for years, they asked me how I did that. And then more people were asking me how I did that. So I'm the queen of creating things that should exist, especially when you're being asked over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So what I did was I created a complete done-for-you service. It's called Your Podcast Production, where I am now at 18 shows. I think 19 will be today, where I've created this entire platform and coaching as well, where I launch your podcast. I write the script. I design the website. I produce the shows, and I coach you on how to record. It's such an intimate experience, especially because the content that most podcasters are sharing is personal. We're doing it for a reason. So that became a business because I just jumped into something blindly, almost blindly. And then what happened over a year ago was that I found out I was misdiagnosed. So everything I had gone through was a lie. I had done chemo. I was on multiple prescription drugs, countless MRIs. I mean, you name it, it happened. So I had to pivot my brand, pivot my business. My whole life was online. I'm like, how do I just change everything? I mean, I have to. Yeah. So I had to, sit down with myself, take even more time and figure out, how am I going to pivot everything? It's like this didn't even exist anymore. So I figured out my way and I did it. And now that's when on my shows recently, I was sharing a lot more of, being misdiagnosed, the whole legal process, because I had to move forward representing myself in 6 different medical malpractice cases.
Wow.
I shared that entire journey. everyone said it couldn't be done, and I did it in less than a year because I launched like it literally was a business. I spent full-time hours on these cases, blood, sweat, and more than tears. And I sent out my letters on my birthday, June 10th last year, and I was done in the spring. So now I can legally talk about that process. So being an entrepreneur, you can have your hands in so many things, but if you're not organized at the end of the day,
oh yeah,
it's not going to work out for you. And I think this is what I love about your show is that, you know, you're talking about things that will really help people be successful and like really streamline and just, you know, less is more kind of thing.
right.
And by writing things down and taking the time and then doing them digitally, it's perfect. And then throughout this whole journey, you know, I've been a business coach and my focus was always LinkedIn, but now I've moved into more of the life coaching because I know I have to hold myself accountable. I know I have to go to therapy. I know I have to start healing my body. I know like I had to run a business on top of suing everybody, on top of coaching clients. So I'm like, if you want some momentum in your life, like I will show you how to get that. I will show you how to be accountable. So then I launched a new program called Momentum Coaching, which was, I think I launched it in November, December, where I'm now there for you to hold yourself accountable and keeping you organized and all of those things. So honestly, because I got sick, this all kind of came about, and it's just, this has been my crazy ride.
Wow, that's a lot.
It's definitely a lot.
Yeah, but I love how you've risen above it. You're keeping yourself super organized and making all the parts happen. So what would be, you know, you like if then that, I can't even say it. If then, then this.
If this, then that. That's why you just say IFTTT.
IFTTTTTT. What are some of the other apps or maybe even, you know, not systems? Because like for me, most of the stuff I do is not in an app. I believe that every time you pick your phone up, it's a moment of choice, and moments of choice usually end up in procrastination. So I'm a big fan of things that we do on our own versus apps. But I'm asking you, you know, are there other apps that you use? Are there other tools that you find keep all of those balls up in the air?
Yes. So my three favorite are the notes section in your phone, the alarm.
Oh God, yes.
And then I would say, what's another one I use the most? The voice recorder.
Oh, okay.
Voice memos. I've actually recorded over 100 podcast episodes on my iPhone.
Oh, really?
And oh yeah, the power of production.
Yeah, that's awesome.
With the alarm, somebody was asking me the other day, what times do I suggest posting on social media? It's all going to get read, right? People are looking for your content or come across your content. So for me, if I'm on my normal schedule, 8, 12, 4, and 8, all the alarms are set in my phone. Everything is ready in my notes section, and I copy and I paste. Oh. Life is so much simpler that way.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I love the notes section.
That, you know, and that's probably one section I hardly ever use. I mean, I think there's grocery lists on it. So
yeah, I use that for that too. Yeah, I'm very strategic when it comes to certain things. So for example, on LinkedIn, if you change your LinkedIn, if it's your birthday on LinkedIn, people will congratulate you and it automatically goes into your message, your LinkedIn message box. So my birthday was June 10th. Well, I always launch something on my birthday. So my response is already created in my notes section, and I copy and I paste, and it's a call to action that drives them to my website, thehappyworkaholic.com, which is where they can look at my programs, read anything about me, download my podcast, and so much more. So you want to be strategic, but then being organized allows you more time to do that. But for sure, voice memos, alarms, and notes. I think I just looked because we were talking about groceries earlier, and I was putting them in my notes, and I have over 400 notes right now.
Wow.
Does that give you anxiety? I know. I have to scroll through a lot. But you know what else is there? All of my hashtags for Instagram, copy paste. This is how I stay organized. This is how I do things a lot quicker. And it's the apps that usually even come with your phone that are sometimes the best. Now there's so many things that you can do inside notes that you can print, you can move over. A really good one for business that can turn photos into PDFs is called Cam Scanner. And I was in luxury travel for years, and I would book private jet flights by taking a picture of a license and a credit card and charter the plane for a client, because you're just taking a picture. It turns into a PDF. You mail it to the broker. The deal is done. But I would say like Cam Scanner is a good one, and anything DocuSign or Sign Now, where you can sign PDFs. Those are really, really good apps for just everyday business that you should have in your phone. Those are my favorite.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So this has been terrific. These are super helpful for people that want to keep. I'm guessing they might not be as busy as you are, but they're certainly going to keep them on track. So if people want to find you, where do they find you? Besides everywhere.
They can find me. I know. I'm everywhere on the internet. You can find me at thehappyworkaholic.com, and the Happy Workaholic podcast is a globally syndicated show. It's available on all the apps. You can listen on your favorite player on my site. So thehappyworkaholic.com is really the home for everything. I spend most of my time on Instagram, and you can find me there at the Happy Workaholic, and then on LinkedIn, my name, Kelly Ann Gorman, in full. But all of that is, again, on my website. So you can just click and it brings you there.
That is awesome. Kelly, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thank you.
I look forward to hanging out with you again soon. So
absolutely.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I said absolutely.
Perfect. So remember to like, rate, and review this podcast, and then join us again next week for another episode of the Faster, Easier, Better Show.